Hello. When you look at this video, you're going to probably see a long length, and you see the production quality of it. It's not good. What I am is someone who has huge ideas and has isolated himself to find them. I don't have the social networking skills to reach a large audience, but I have solutions that would be appealing to a large audience. What I need is help. What I need is to be able to do this work. So when I tell you I've got solutions, what do I mean? What solutions do I offer? Let me start with the basic understandings of what we have done in our world. Most people who look for solutions look for technical or engineering solutions, but most ideas are spread mimetically. What I mean by mimetically is a meme, as originally defined, is a unit of culture similar to that of a gene in biology that is duplicated or replicated. It is a unit of culture that is fighting for survival, like the genes in our bodies are fighting for survival. Adaptation changes the gene. Adaptation changes the meme so it has a better chance of survival. We have never in our entire history had an empire, a government, a war, an invasion, a subjugation without surviving memes. One meme outsurvives another, and it has real world impact in blood and finance. That sounds Let me give you some examples. Whether you believe it or not, whether it is true or not, climate change has an effect. If you believe it is not true and you believe that it's a conspiracy, that they're out to get your freedoms, your rights, your property, you hold on to certain things. You believe them to be true. Those are the memes that make up your personality, your consciousness. If you believe that climate change is real, your memes adapt. The memes that survive in your consciousness are those that follow your thinking. You believe in climate change, so you recycle. You start projects that help those ends. You don't believe in it, so you start projects that don't consider those trends. In every way our lives develop, in every part of this world, the memes are our cultures. They are what allow us to thrive or what take us down. Empires have fallen because of resources and memes. Rome defeats itself because its mimetic says, conquer. The rich get all the rewards. It weakens its own foundations because if being wealthy reinforces itself as desirable, then anybody in the lower ranks is looking for that survivability. They're looking to attain that. One of the reasons wealth is so hard for humans to overcome, the misuse of wealth is so hard to overcome, is because every one of us, if you're listening to this right now, think of somebody that you admire who has wealth and resources. Something about their lifestyle is admirable to you. It's something that you would like to in some way emulate, that you would look up to. We all seem to have this innate thing in the back of our minds. Whether or not it will ever be achieved by us, We want the possibility of that achievement to exist. I will never be a famous movie star. I'll never be a famous, an important developer. I'll never be wealthy and famous. But I want that possibility, that possible achievement to survive in my mind. For thousands of years, we've put up with it, with the abuse of wealth, the constant distribution of resources and mobility upwards, away from the masses, that's us. Whether you're a millionaire in charge of a construction company or it doesn't matter. We always want that next step. We always keep it alive. It will never be overcome. Climate change, if you're on the side of climate change and you want to fight against it, you will never succeed until you get that notion that's inside all of us of we want the possibility to be there, that we could become the rich and the elite. It affects us in, I have answers, solutions that I would love to be able to put down on paper and share with people who do have influence. But I don't have the words. I don't have the writing capabilities. I have locked myself away from my life. As long as I'm able to close myself away and just do my work, do my thinking, that is all I've ever cared about. And my social skills, my marketing skills, if there ever were any, have all been sacrificed to this. What I need are people who want to make a difference, who don't care about the fortune. You want the fame? You want to be known for how big a difference you can make in this world? I would love to work with you. As long as you don't care about the fortune. Everything that gets made from the next movement. There's people in the United States right now talking about our next civil war right now. I don't know if that's ever going to happen. I don't know if it's hyperbole. I don't know if it's just far right, far left thinking. I don't know. But if there is going to be a revolution, if there is going to be a next war, it cannot be along the same grounds as every war we fought before. Hitler's Germany was an elite group looking to expand their own power, wealth, and influence. We can't have that. And we countered it by doing the capitalist society, which is elite people got to expand their wealth, their power, and all of it was fought in trenches, in airplanes, on ships, by people who had the hope that one day their influence and their power and their wealth would be made. But for the large part, most of us will never achieve that. We need to change that dynamic. One of the ways we can do this, and this is just an example. I've got about 1 million different videos on 1 million different topics I could make if I was in any way articulate about this. One of the flaws we're now discovering in our society is in our morality. It used to be simple to overlook. It used to be our empathy stretched only to our families, to our villages, to our cities. Now it stretches further and further and further out. And there are a couple of reasons for that. One, our media allows us to empathize with people that we would never have even known about before. It allows us access to information that we never would have had before. Another is, I think, that women are becoming a more and more dominant role. They have far more say in what happens these days and what is influenced on our societies. It's not to say that all women are more empathetic than all men, because we're discovering that a lot of men have secret reserves of empathy they weren't allowed to show before. But these changes are happening, and they need to be codified. They need to be It needs to be boiled down, and it needs to be sold. It needs to be pushed out there, but it can't be sold for wealth, power, and influence. It can't be. All the wealth has generated from these projects has to be put back out into generating more projects. I just saw an article on a nonprofit organization that is cleaning up one of the cesspools of plastic in our oceans. They've created machines now that can capture microplastic. We need those projects to go forward. We know that to fight global change, climate change, one of the best things you can do is plant trees. And in my own country, there are vast swathes of land that could be changed from insane amounts of cows and pastures and crop fields that are just go on as far as the eye can see, that are just there to feed the cows. We could change these from the massive farms to vertical crop farming for ourselves, relocate cattle so that we can fight desertification, and give us vast swaths of more land to plant more trees. But that is not economically viable. That's not something you could get past in our current governments. And it's not even something that could get past the owners of that property, because it's so different an idea. I don't know how to sell these ideas. But they range from anything to projects like cleaning up the ocean, to intelligent farming, intelligent forestry, intelligent desalination of water. There are all these projects that could be going right now as mainstream, but there's no way to accomplish it, because everything we do, especially in this country, is bombarded by all these people looking to get a piece of the action, all these people looking to make a profit off of it. I need help reaching people who can recognize the value of this kind of change in our world. I need somebody who can actually make videos, because I can't. This isn't me. I don't have the confidence for this. I have the ideas. I don't have the confidence for this. I don't have the networking abilities to, even if I had the ability to make the videos, to network them out there and spread the ideas. One of the biggest problems to these solutions is that they're so interconnected. We talk a lot about how the world is becoming more connected. And one of the consequences of that is that I am finding the solutions to our problems are also connected. It's incredible how the more you boil it down to find simple answers that could be easily marketed, the more you find that it's connected to all these different sectors, all these different obstacles. We are becoming more connected. And if there is going to be a revolution that comes next, if there is going to be a civil war or a global conflict, it needs to be different than all the conflicts before it. It needs to be towards equality. See, where I live in the United States, we started a social experiment hundreds of years ago to lead us closer to equality for all mankind. We did it regionally because we didn't understand. We didn't have the information that we have today. We didn't realize how much of this world could be understood. Back then, when it was formed, a lot of the ideas that we have today that lead to the understanding of this world were thought of as against religion, against God, against the common understanding of the world. But we know today, we can plot the demographics of our entire world One of the best things that the United States gave the world was its ability, the world's ability, to collect, collate, and distribute data. And at the same time, it became one of the most secretive countries in the world from a governance standpoint. We keep secrets. I realize I sound like a madman. I realize that it's hard to see solutions because they are so connected and everybody has their own opinions. Right now, anybody watching this can have their own problems. They can see or search for their own solutions in their own unique ways. That's a good thing. But the solutions going forward, we have to make, there has to be an arrow, a focus, a shift in the results that are acceptable to us as a whole. If it doesn't benefit the common good going forward in meaningful ways, you can't say you're out to benefit all mankind and still be looking for your $15 million mansion. You can't say you're out to benefit all mankind and still be looking for your specific set of sports cars or huge boats. I realize that competition, another thing that the United States, the experiment that is the United States showed us, is the value of rigorous competition. Competition and wealth are essential to progress. So to take those tools and use them for all humanity, we have to begin to shift our reverence for personal wealth, for personal achievement, for personal influence needs to change. You should told you, in the beginning I told you that this is not my forte. I have the ideas, but I don't have the way to articulate and market them. I don't want to be wealthy. I don't need wealth. I don't want to be famous. I don't need to be the face on this video. But I have solutions. And more importantly, I have a direction for solutions to move in. A lot of times we come up with solutions in our societies that create more harm than they do good. There needs to be an arrow, a collective understanding of the direction we want to move in. And maybe it can't even happen in the United States, but it needs to happen in as many places as possible in this world. We are now becoming connected so that that is possible. But it could blow up in our faces, and we see that. I personally believe that climate change is a real emergency for us. It could blow up in our faces and affect the next thousands of years on this planet. Sure, that won't affect me. I may not be alive long enough for any meaningful number of people to see this video. But there needs to be an established arrow of progress. There's an arrow of time. That's physics. That's not something I should go into here. But if you're watching this video and you want to talk about the physics of it, the elements of time of it, the mimetic elements of it, I can keep up a conversation with anybody on any of those levels. If you're a Star Trek nerd and want to talk about the foundation of a federational society, I can keep up with you on that subject, though I'm not a huge fan. I could show you the way to build that society, and it has to start in a minor change in our ethics and moral understanding of what it means to be a human. There's an argument to be made that for a lot of the world's population, we believe that our morals are given to us by God. For the other half, they believe that our morals come from us. Now, if our morals come from us, then this change should be easy to adapt. The idea that we all understand on some level that morally we don't empathize with enough of our population. The idea that, yes, when somebody tells me, I'll try to give you an example here. If I see an article or meet somebody and they tell me a story, I can empathize with that story because I have encountered it. I'll empathize with it on certain levels. I'll identify with it. I'll feel sorry for the person. But for the most part, our capacity only goes so far. And that's expanding. Right now, in our world, that's expanding. We need to set a specific understanding in our morality that says that is a problem and we need to do better. If you come from the perspective that our morality comes from God, let me give you a problem here. Why is it that for a large section of the population, the idea that climate change is a scam centers around or within a lot of religious sects that say, or organizations? If we are created by God, if this world was created by God, it stands to reason that we should be better stewards of it. I told you I'm not good at this. I have a million ideas fighting in my head right now to try and help the solution. And they're all saying, hey, don't forget me, don't forget me. A moral change in perspective. As it seems to be, my influence is heavily Christian. It seems to be that if God created us, he gave us an environment. And first, the objective was go forth and multiply. We've done that successfully. We are everywhere in great numbers. What seems to be the next step would be to organize in a moral way, to become better stewards of this planet. And what I'd propose there is the introduction of just the introduction, you're changing morality, but it doesn't have to be of man. I would think that God is a creative force. God's energy is a creative energy. Whereas if there's intelligence behind creative and entropic, or if you think entropic, think all things tend towards decay or disorder. That's entropy. If there's an intelligence behind creative energy and entropic energy, then there is a battle being fought. If the battle is being fought and climate change is real, then entropic forces are what you're fighting against. I don't understand why a lot of the opposition to fighting against climate change comes from a religious perspective, because it is as real and as visible a thing as you can have when it comes to creative energy versus entropic energy, which is good versus evil. How is it we have to fight to get religious people on our side when the battle is literally good versus evil? I understand the industrialist argument against climate change. I totally get that. It's more profitable now to burn up the environment. You're not going to be here to reap the destruction, so why not continue on? But I never really understood the argument against it from the religious angle. It is probably one of the best arguments you could put forward for good versus evil, and we're getting the people who are on the side of good fighting against us, supporting people who are against us. I'm sorry, I went off on a tirade there. Told you I've got many ideas and I'm not an orator. What I need is help. I need to find an organization or become part of something that allows me to do this work. and I have secluded myself for decades. The thinking I have done has required that I be alone. So the skills I should have to allow me to help more people have been sacrificed to come to conclusions that I could not possibly share in a viable, watchable video. Thank you for your time. I'll try to maybe get this written down in a format that can be shared. I need help with that. So I guess this could be considered a plea for help. I have an unknowable number of ideas and solutions for all kinds of topics. Shoot me a question in the comments if you want, and I'll try to get back to you with a solution, with an actual solution. I don't have the resources to do something like that. And I could care less about wealth, so I'll probably never have the resources to do something about that. I don't care about fame or fortune, but I want to help. I'm going to stop going off of talking about myself. So thank you for your time. Have a good day. Give it some thought. Thank you.